here and at a projector. Then we'll take a quick little break while I go to the men's room. And then we'll come back up and then we'll do playlists.
Great.
Because I have to do my playlists for today to be able to show movies later.
Great.
All right. So we downloaded from the server, which is the majority, most likely the majority of your content is going to come from the server. But you will get hard drives, and particularly if you're doing any like repertory screenings, that's all going to come on hard drives.
Okay.
So you get your hard drive. This comes out of the box, and you pop it in here. Get you a little more light. There we go. And it just slides in. Try to get the little arm in there. Every once in a while, the arm will kind of poke out. As long as that light starts blinking and then stays solid, that means it's in there.
Great.
So the blinking is it's trying to read it, and then the solid is, hey, I've successfully read the hard drive. So the hard drive is in there. Now, I have no idea why this is a thing, why we have to do this next step. But the next step is you have to tell the server which drive you want it to look at to extract information from the hard drive. So when I say drive, these are all your drives, as distinct from calling something a hard drive. So this is a drive 1 and 2. So these two are separate drives. And then these drives are just the server itself. So these two, so drive 1 and drive 2 will always look like this. They'll always be there.
Okay.
Now, drive 4 is reading the keys thumb drive. If we were to take that thumb drive out, this would disappear because it would not be reading it anymore. So drive 3, it's reading that there's something in that port that's 182 gigs. We have to name it before it will access it. So that's this drop-down list, and you just literally pick a letter. Doesn't matter. Whatever your favorite letter is. So I just assigned it Z. Now, you don't have to do anything else. You just minimize it, or you can even X out of it. Doesn't matter which. So we've assigned the letter. Now we go to File, because we're ingesting a piece of content. So we're ingesting a DCP file. Click on that. Takes you back to this screen. And remember, so down here is where we went to the satellite. Right now, it's reading all the information from the thumb drive. It's all grayed out because we've ingested all of it. We have to tell it to look at the file that we just named Z. So I'm going to double click on that, and here we go. So, I totally picked the worst hard drive to do this, because you can see everything is grayed out because I have already ingested all of this stuff.
Got it.
So here's a trailer. So The Quiet Girl, trailer, flat. And Infinity Pool, trailer, flat. Now, these are the trailers that came with the movie. You'll see that the movie itself is also flat. These are all from the same distributor, and the distributor wants these two trailers programmed with their movie.
Got it.
But the distributor has had the foresight to make sure they gave us flat versions to go along with a flat movie. And here's a good example of another file or how to read a file name. So broker. Sometimes you'll get a file name that has like a weird addendum added to it. Usually Deluxe is pretty good about sending emails about any like extra content that is included on something. So when I first ingested this movie, I was like, this has to be a movie because it says feature, right?
And it has the size.
It says feature, it's 160 gigs. I know it's a Korean movie, so KO is Korean - English, so it's got English subtitles, so that's great. What the hell is long intro? Couple of days later, we get an ingest letter. That's what they call an ingest letter, which is just an email with information about the movie. And the email says, oh, by the way, the version of Broker that was sent to all landmark locations has a brief introduction where the director says, thank you for supporting the theatrical experience. I want my movies to be seen in theaters. And it's like, light bulb goes off, like, okay, great, it makes sense. But I certainly did not wait to ingest it. It was more like, okay, I'll investigate and figure out what long intro means. But in the meantime, I want to get this ingested and sent ahead of time. So if these things were not grayed out, if they were in bold, you would just click them, click ingest checked, and as soon as you click on ingest checked, they would all gray out because the computer's thinking about it. It's getting the ball rolling. As soon as these things gray out, then you can close this window, go to view, ingest, and you would see all of those files populated down here to varying degrees. Whatever's going first would be, give you a little progress bar, and then everything below it would say waiting. Or it either says waiting or queued. Maybe it says queued. It just knows that, but it's not gonna ingest
Everything at once.
Yeah, it cannot do it simultaneously. It puts information in an orderly line and just does it one at a time. So we have ingested our hard drive, or we've started to. 160 gig file is going to take 45 minutes. So it's working. You get up, you go do something else, take a call, take a meeting. Come back like an hour later and check on it, because every once in a blue moon, when you go to view and remember, view ingest is when you're downloading, view transfer is when you're sending. But you want to check both, because it'll tell you when something's done, or if there's a problem, if something gets interrupted or doesn't send for some reason. This will have, instead of being green, will have a little X, and over here, instead of saying done, it will say exception.
Okay.
So something happened to interrupt the transfer. We don't have any way locally to interface and find out what caused that exception. In my experience, if you just go back and try to send the exact same file again, usually the second time's the charm.
Okay.
I've never had a file refuse to send on a second or third try.
Okay.
If there's something wrong with the file, like something wrong with, like if the hard drive is corrupted, or I had someone drop a hard drive once. Like they took it out of the box, so it was just the metal shell, and they dropped it, and it landed hard, and when we picked it back up, you could hear something rattling inside, and it's like something happened to that hard drive, and we went to ingest it, and the computer wouldn't even read it. And then we had to call Deluxe and say, you sent us a corrupted hard drive, how dare you? And then they overnighted a replacement.
Got it.
So, let's say, so when you want to remove a hard drive, so just like with the thumb drive, when we came down here and did our, we want to safely remove your, you have to do the same thing for your hard drives, except the drives are big enough, they just have their own buttons. So here's your blue light, so you know that the server is reading the drive. The little gray button underneath it, if you hold that down, and you're holding it down the whole time, it's blinking. Now it's off. So we have closed the file. The computer's not trying to read the drive anymore. And then our little handle here, you just depress it once, and it kind of springs open, and then you can just slide the whole thing out. All right, so let's say, so